Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I went home this weekend too and spoke with constituents, and they thanked me for coming up with solutions that meet people in the middle in a bipartisan fashion and being willing to work across the aisle. Mr. Speaker, the other side of the aisle contends today that this amendment would just preserve the laws we have on the books. But Mr. Speaker, being someone who works across the aisle on many tough issues, it takes colleagues on the other side of the aisle willing to come to the table with things that aren't extreme and not just all or nothing proposals, which is what we've had before us. So I worked this weekend on some things that perhaps we could have had discussions about. If preserving the laws we have on the books had been the real objective of the patrons of the amendment, they could have taken some very different approaches that may in fact have gotten more votes. If their goal was to ensure that Dobbs doesn't apply to Virginia to preserve the status quo, they could have introduced language such as the right to abortion in the Commonwealth is recognized and hereby ratified as the same rights recognized by the U.S. Supreme Court before the decision in Texas versus Dobbs. If the concern was about life-saving care in the event of an incomplete miscarriage or delivering a baby that had died in utero, they could have gone another way altogether as well. Language such as, no law of the Commonwealth or article of this Constitution shall be read, interpreted, or construed to limit a woman's right to medical care for the treatment of miscarriage, fetal demise, or other adverse outcome of a pregnancy in which the fetus has died or is no longer capable of life outside the womb. Or if they wanted to draw a line to preserve Virginia's current law, they could have proposed this. No law of this Commonwealth shall be read to interfere with a woman's right to obtain an abortion before the third trimester of pregnancy. Any one of those may have picked up some votes on this side of the aisle, but that's not what they did. Their amendment goes to the most extreme position possible, abortion until the moment of birth for any reason. My colleagues on this side of the aisle have already talked about why this position is horrifying. Human life, moments from birth, has value. The other side of the aisle mentioned to us many times that Virginians support a right to abortion. Mr. Speaker, they're right. But the statistics they don't say is how those numbers fall off the cliff when we talk about third trimester abortion. Gallup found that only 7% of Americans support legal abortion in the third trimester. We know deep down in our core, every one of us, that in the third trimester of a pregnancy, we're talking about a child, a baby who can feel pain, a baby who can live if given the chance. Babies that are right across the street at VCU Hospital in NICU fighting for their lives, and they can live if given a chance. So, Mr. Speaker, this amendment means that the only reason a child, a baby, has value is because her mother says she does. And if she changes her mind, well, that's the mother's choice, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. Mr. Speaker, that's just wrong. Thank you.